Are there things that you've done in the past, whether it's on the hills or in the past, that you thought, I've learned to live with this because I've done it. There's nothing I can do about it. But what would be a story you would tell to your daughter about something you've done that you later realized that you regretted?
Your early 20s and teens is hard, and those choices you do sometimes have to live with. You learn from them, but then you can teach other people from what you've been through.
Yeah. How did you deal with that when that stuff came
Well, I was
out?
with Justin at the time, and I remember we were laying out at the beach, and they came out. The photographer that was a friend, a female friend, sold them for money. And Justin was like, who cares? You look great. Like, who cares? They're boobs. Everybody has boobs. Like, stop freaking out about it.
What was your biggest takeaway? You mentioned you're being married, obviously, and your divorce was pretty public.
Yeah.
You had to file a restraining order against him. Like, how are things now? Or do you have any communication? Like, how it must be a challenge to try to co-parent, but like, as someone who's had their own challenges with your ex, but you also share a daughter, how do you go about trying to make sure your child has a relationship with their father versus protecting yourself and having just a healthy, good mental health with your relationships? What is that like? And do you have any advice for anyone listening who might be experiencing, or something that you've experienced in the past? So recently it was talked about how The Hills is having some sort of new reboot show.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately,
yeah,
you and the original cast won't be on it. You're not thrilled with that. We're not thrilled with it either. Recently, Christine Quinn went on the Call Her Daddy podcast and talked about, is he the head producer, Adam DeVillo?
Oh, yeah.
And she had some like not nice things to say about him. So she what did she say about him? Like, there's been complaints filed against him, multiple complaints. And then she accused him of telling her to kill herself.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you what was your experience like with Adam? Because she kind of suggested that he was pretty aggressive and manipulative. And then it sounds like Spencer, at least.
Well, they had a lot of issues with him.
He didn't say anything specifically, but he seemed to want to support Christine's comments about Adam. But what was your experience like with him?
My experience with Adam was never that negative. He was, come on, it's a reality show. You have to instigate and manipulate. Otherwise, it's going to be boring. But the pressure and some of the things that were done in the past were very manipulative, where we did have to get our lawyers involved and like sit down and be like, listen, we get this is a TV show. We're willing to do and say whatever. But at the same time, you can't, it's not cool to push this, or you can't do that.
What was one of the things that you guys had to push back on?
Well, there was one time in Miami, we were filming there for Super Bowl, and Kristen was out, hanging out, partying, and she was with a guy, and she didn't show up for a couple of the episodes, and so they're trying to bribe us with a fancy designer bag, and we were like, no, we're not doing that. And Lo was like, I'll do it. So she went on camera and started talking about Kristen and putting things out there that weren't true about her doing drugs and all that. And it was on the cover of Us. It was all over. It was so bad.
Right, so they bribed her with clothes, they bribed her. What they bribed her with isn't all
purse.
That.
Yeah.
But they basically bribed her to make up stories about Kristen.
Yeah. So that was a moment that we all were just like, okay, enough is enough.
Wow.
So we all got together with our lawyers, and we just kind of had to put our foot down. But, it's like some people are willing to do anything, just be like, oh, I don't care. I'll do it. I'll say whatever, and then other people are like, well, no, because it's going to affect who I really am in the real world. People believe everything on the reality TV show sometimes, even though some of it's manipulated and hyped up for the sake of ratings.
Yeah, it's tough to try to manage that in the moment, but it sounds like you got through it for the most part unscathed.
We got through it. There was a lot of ups and downs with the producers where we'd have to call our publicists or lawyers and be like, they're not letting me leave, because they really would want me. In particular, there was this one scene Kristen and I had to do. We had a fight over Justin. And I was like, I have a boyfriend. I don't want to keep fighting over Justin. I don't want to keep acting like I care. Him and Kristen have their thing for the show. Let them do their thing. But for that scene, we needed to get into it about him. So I kept refusing and I wanted to leave and they blocked my car in. And I was like, "Get me out of here. I don't wanna do it." And so I talked to Kristen and we're like, "Ugh, let's just do it," because she wanted to leave too. We're like, "Okay, let's just do it and get out of here." So we did it, and then we left.
How many moments are on the hills that are a result of two people like just being worn out and just saying, let's just do it and get it over with?
I've done a few movies. That was fun. But I just feel like reality is not reality anymore. I just feel like if you're gonna do reality, you really have to be prepared to, like, step it up and be extra because it has to be entertaining. And it's very stressful, and I feel like I did that for so long that it would depend what kind of reality show. If it's like a super dramatic show, probably not. I've been through enough drama in my life at this point that I'm ready for peace.